So, picture this. The sun is setting over the ancient town of Capernaum, and as dusk falls, this sea of human suffering gathers at one man's door. What happened in that moment wasn't just another miracle. It was a powerful message, a sign pointing to one of the most profound ideas in the entire Bible. You know, the Gospels tell us about 37 distinct miracles that Jesus performed. But if you look really close, you start to see that these weren't just random acts of power. No, they were something much, much more intentional. Okay, let's get into this, because it's super important. The sources explain that these events are best understood as signs, or semeia in the original Greek. Think of it like this. A signpost doesn't exist for its own sake, right? It points you to something else. And that's exactly what these miracles were doing. They were pointing to a deeper meaning, a message that was meant to be read, not just seen. So with that idea of signs in our back pocket, let's zoom in on one specific event, the 15th recorded miracle. It was a massive healing that went down right as the sun set over Capernaum.
Now, this is where the scene gets absolutely electric. You have to understand the timing here. The Jewish Sabbath, a day of rest where travel was pretty much forbidden, had just ended at sunset. And what happens? It's like a dam breaking. The entire town, maybe even the whole region, is suddenly unleashed, creating this tidal wave of desperation and hope, and it all comes crashing down on this one single house.
And we're not just talking about a few people with a cough. The accounts describe a literal sea of human pain. Just try to imagine it as dusk is falling. People burning up with fevers, others with chronic illnesses, some who can't walk, some who can't see. Every kind of physical and spiritual suffering you can imagine, all gathered in one place, clinging to one last hope.
But here's the thing. This event wasn't just about the incredible scale of the healing. This was a sign, and it was pointing backwards to the fulfillment of a very specific and incredibly important ancient prophecy.
So you've got to ask the question, right? Beyond the amazing compassion we see here, what was the deeper point? Why this event at this exact time and in this exact way?
Well, the answer is found in this incredible figure from the book of Isaiah, prophesied hundreds of years earlier. He's known as the suffering servant, and this figure was described as someone who would one day come and literally carry the burdens and sorrows of his people.
And the writer of Matthew's Gospel, he doesn't leave you guessing. He doesn't make it a riddle. He draws a direct line, stating that this whole overwhelming evening of healing was the fulfillment of that specific prophecy.
And this is where it all just clicks. This mass healing was a living, breathing demonstration that Jesus was stepping into that role of the suffering servant. He wasn't just, waving a hand and making problems disappear. In a really profound way, he was taking the weight of all that human suffering onto himself.
So, what does this mean for the bigger picture? Well, it points to this really cool concept that theologians call the already and not yet kingdom. And it's an amazing way to understand what these signs were really all about. Think about it like this. That evening in Capernaum was basically a movie trailer for the future. For just a few hours, people got a sneak peek of what the world looks like when God's kingdom is fully realized. A world with no more sickness, no more pain, no more suffering. It was a powerful foretaste of what's to come.
Here's how you can wrap your head around it. The already is what we see in the miracles. This is tangible proof that God's kingdom of healing and restoration has broken into our world. But the not yet is the reality that, hey, the world still isn't perfect. Suffering still exists. But these signs, they point us toward a future where that final restoration will be absolute and complete.
Okay, so let's pull all these threads together. That one evening of healing in Capernaum was so much more than a miracle. It was a message, and it had some really crucial layers to it.
At the end of the day, this miracle is way more than just a powerful story. It's a carefully constructed sign. It reveals Jesus' identity as that prophesied suffering servant, and it gives all of us this tangible preview of a future where all suffering is finally and completely healed.
So I want to leave you with this final thought. When we stop seeing this event as just a mass healing and start seeing it as a deliberate prophetic sign, one that was designed to communicate a very specific message, how does that completely shift our understanding of its purpose and of its power?